Okay, so hopefully this works better for me than what it was, because right now I'm in a very annoyed mood because it hasn't been. So now I'm coming in with a bit better of a setup. Anyway, let's get going back into draft because I want to get this over and done with now. So, SK and BDS have rounded out their drafts. Maokai Kaiser for SK. And that's an interesting draft overall because Kaiser is a pick you don't necessarily expect to see. And if Corki goes into the mid lane, then it's Kaiser bot. However, the drafts aren't actually flip-flopping about right now, so can't actually see how that is looking. I dare say it'll be a pretty good finish up. How it has gone, to be fair. But Kaiser... Okay, now we're seeing the drafts move about. So Corki looks to be going into the mid lane for SK. Kaiser bot. You could have honestly have made the prediction that Kaiser goes mid and you go the full AP burst build. Because actually, I think it probably will be AP Kaiser in that bot lane. Because if you think about it, Corki builds full AD. That mixed damage approach now no longer really exists. So Kaiser could honestly go for the like full AP burst W build and long range harassment that makes it really hard for BDS to kind of fight her. Plus you play range well and use your E's to speed about and dodge. That's kind of the mindset I have for it. Or that pick per se. But yeah, it's an interesting comp. I really hope that we see some explosivity onto the Rift. But I'm ready. We're raring to go for this game after a long hiatus of hoping that this stream would work. But hashtag I fucking hate our internet provider. Simple as that. I know why. We've been transferred between 3 different internet providers in a space of 2 months, and the initial set of bad news during MSI was them literally transferring it the first time. So now that we're back here, I'm hoping that we can maintain something stable, but it's feeling a lot like my original internet that had so many issues. If you couldn't tell by the fact that I've been dropping frames and I'm not happy. Regardless, we're on the Rift. BDS on blue. SK on red, and we're initially seeing a little bit of movement. This ward being dropped here will track any movement by BDS early. They've not got any sweepers available, as this one's been used. So, realistically speaking, SK gonna have a bit better of an understanding of the start. It's Rumble jungle. He's not running the Rumble into jungle skin. That's disappointing. To be honest, it's also, I've only just realized it's Mordekaiser top. Warner has with the ulti to pull 3 champions in. If you take him into the Death Realm, he immediately drops all 3 champions. As well as the fact that you essentially avoid any form of damage. Like, burst, your team gets freed up, and you can actually play around him. The fact that you have a E that provides constant shielding and healing against the Skarner, you'll sustain him through the entirety of the game. Even though Skarner W shield has damage now and is quite potent, the rock throws will get very annoying. Plus, you can kind of negate his charge at you with your E. So you essentially press E as he's coming towards you, and that carpet pushback just throws him away. Or pulls him towards you if you want to pull him under tower. As a whole, Mordekaiser into Skarner is a nice matchup, I would say, if you look at how it would play out. Now, the rest of the comp for SK is honestly quite interesting to go alongside this Skarner. Corki with a burst from range, you're kind of looking alongside this Kaiser to land poke in her ass with, or when the Skarner goes in. Same with the Maokai. And you've actually got a lot of lockup. Alistar, Headbutt Pulve, Maokai Twisted Advance into Nature's Grasp. You've also got then Skarner's entire kit of the charge at the wall, the ulti, and as a whole you've got a very high amount of abilities to lock up BDS and not really allow them to fight, because the mid lane matchups, Varus Jinx, Varus versus Corki, I should say, so both pokey mid laners. Judging by the comment, it's more likely to be the poke build out from Nuke. So maybe a bit of AP in there. I think that would probably make a bit of sense. However, due to the fact that Rumble, Maud are both AP, I think it's probably more likely to be the AD poke lethality build that you see from Varus's from time to time. Similar sort of story from the Corki, the lethality build. And I'm just looking at this Kaiser set of runes. The press the attack signifies it's more likely to be an AD build, which I'm kind of disappointed by, considering it's a Mordekaiser and a Rel on the other side of a Rift. Both can very easily just stack up armor, and your damage dealers on SK's side won't be able to do too much to them. So, as it stands, what I would say is draft right now is very favorable to BDS. You've got a flurry of damage. You've got a lot of peel with the Rel and the Mordekaiser. The damage from long range as well. The Rumble ulti, the Jinx rocket, the Varus Qs. You can poke down targets and you can control areas pretty nicely. It's just whether or not SK can get onto these carries. And I think they could do it quite well with Nature's Grasp into Headbutt Pulve, but hey, it's what it is. Early on, we've already seen a flashpoint out of the mid lane as Ice is lane swapping up here. Mordekaiser's not going to get the E, but is going to flash forward. The Q lands, and the Rumble is pathing his way up here. It's a 3-man of BDS standing in the top side. First Blood goes over to Dom, and yeah. Chris Clean engage as Alistar Headbutt Pulves. Varus is here, and it's not the same ADC that's been with this Rel all game. It's the other one in the mid lane getting the damage down. Alistar chunked quite heavily, and Void Grubs, first two already going over as the engage is going to come through. It looks to have caught out this Rel. Skarner's on the hunt. He lands the autos. He wants to get a trade back of the kills. A rock throw comes through, and that's going to be the second kill of the game, this time over to SK. This game's actually starting off very aggressive, to be honest. Groves went over to BDS, they'll take that. But SK fight back, claim a kill that they initially gave over with First Blood. Now trying to avoid, I think, the matchup into Rahel and Luon, who we haven't really discussed yet. Considering this is our first game covering these two players, they've looked pretty okay. I mean, you can't really comment too much from what we've seen, but as a whole, they've been good for SK. Not really, I would say, standout performances from them yet, but they're doing the job. I thought initially coming into this year, maybe there'd be a bit of a struggle with SK, due to the fact that these players obviously just starting to get to play together for the first time. You've got two different nationalities, or two different regional speaking, obviously Korean for the bot lane, and then I assume English for the rest of the map. And that, to be honest, is a bit of a yikes, because you may struggle to communicate to your bot lane to go in, to play safe, if they don't understand that terminology. However, the SK bot lane as a whole have just been playing very, I'd say, not passively, but more so without any real risk of being caught out. So clearly, A, communication's working well between them, or B, they're just in a state of the game where they've not necessarily needed to communicate. And that is kind of the style you see here, because they're playing very passive right now. They're being forced off the wave. Kaiser can step up and press Q, but that's about it, because once Labrov leaves the lane and gets caught out like this, plays can start to happen. The equalizer gets dropped, and that disengages SK. Flash used there by Isma, but the trade not really there from BDS. I think Rel flashed out, but even then, the damage was there for BDS. Rumble was present, the equalizer, very powerful. It would have taken a couple of seconds for Jinx to get involved, but BDS responding well. And so are SK to where each other are on the map, because junglers side matching up one another is good, it's great, it's a thing that you like to see, because it means that they're trying to tell one another and force fights or plays around different objectives. Now, again, we go to the top side. Rel going for an invade, trying to just push Maokai out of his jungle. But Alistar matches the roam, and the reason they're roaming up here is Void Grub's up in 13 seconds. BDS favoured for this push in the top side with the Jinx, gets it in favour of BDS. Just looking at where this Corki is hovering around here, I think SK kind of have to give up all these grubbies. No real scraps is going to be thrown out. It's two of these three Void Grubs gone over to BDS. But the continuation will play as Corki goes forward, not going to be able to kill off the Rel initially, as the Void Grub's finally taken over. BDS just forcing SK out the jungle. And they get what they want here, BDS. The Fell Stinger comes through, and Skarner picks off this Mordekaiser. But the Death Realm puts him into safe position, but he's unable to escape as Irrelevant kills off his counterpart in the top lane. BDS, it looked weird. And that's the issue I have with Mordekaiser, by the way. It's so hard to tell when he's in the Death Realm, because I'm pretty sure he was in that. And the fun thing was, he was trying to get so far away from the Skarner that essentially Skarner stopped hitting, tried to give the kill over to one of his carries, but was unable to. And in the end, he picks up the kill, which is great for SK. However, maybe would have liked to have seen the goal go over to Niski or Rahel. Now, as it stands, BDS kind of content with how this game's going. They've had push in most lanes, as that's a massive catch out. Kaiser uses a killer instinct to get very far away. The flash forward from this Rumble, using the Flame Spitter, finally will kill off the Kaiser, who realistically walked back into it. But to be honest, it's a kill over in a 1-for-1 trade. As the jungler gets slain here, that should be Dragon secured for SK if they continue. But Niski, he's hunting Labrov, and the Drakes get stopped. BDS do a kind of a good job to stop the Drake. However, it's still a kill over to Niski, who picked up 2 off the back of the jungler and the support. As topside, Skarner trading aggressive, using the Stinger to pull this Mordekaiser away from tower. Not going to be able to get the kill, And that's an ulti on cooldown. And the possibilities of a play for BDS now on the table. Simply put, what we're seeing right now is that's actually an interesting build start for this Kaiser. Static Shiv isn't something we typically see anymore. Because of the rework to the item, it's not as strong, some people feel, as you're required to kill a minion or thing in order for it to actually trigger. Essentially speaking, what you need to do is kill a minion with your Q or your autos, and then the static proc happens. It's a little bit more frequent than having to run around and charge it up, but it's not as powerful as what it once was with the amount of magic damage it provided. Now, obviously Kaiser attack speed, very good. You go Static Shiv because it does also provide some AP burst, and if I'm correct, we may see a bit more AP out from the Kaiser. But I've already noticed something interesting, and it's the Maokai build. Liandry's first is... It used to be Demonic Embrace that you go for. Black Torch Staff may be a possibility as bot side. Dafrom's going to be used, and this is going to be a kill. Niski gets picked off here by Adam. The Maokai is in rage as the Nature's Wrath comes through, and finally, here comes Luan. They're going to force the Mordekaiser away from tower, who has his E built up. A lot of stacks there. Going to get a massive chunk of healing if he needs to. Killer Instinct through from this Kaiser allows for the assist to go over to her. Realistically, Isma did not really want to pick up that kill as the rocket goes by. Kaiser should have honestly picked that one up. However, because SK have overcommitted into that bot side, top lane tier 1 going to be hit at, and so is the mid lane tier 1. And this is an issue for SK. Double ADCs on BDS's side mean they melt through towers quite quickly. The Void Grubs alongside it as well, the 6 stack, just means that all these towers melt if they're BDS. Now, sure, they give over first tower blood due to the early pressure from SK onto that tower, amounting in an easy take, but the response is there for BDS. They secured top lane tier 1, the mid lane tier 1 is already pretty chunked, and Jinx is going to crash another wave into it. Irrelevant. Gonna have to come over that wall with the E if he wants to kind of stop it, but as it stands, Al-Assad just soaks up minions, doesn't allow it to hit tower, and Kaiser's actually going to be the one to benefit from this. So, actually a pretty good play by SK to kind of, I'd say negate, but it's more so dampen some of the play that BDS were getting off the back of the initial pick that Adam got. Because bear in mind, Niski fell, and he had, I think, a shutdown at that point. So Adam's Mordekaiser 2-2-0 already got himself a Rylai's, so he's looking to slow down targets, and that's actually an interesting thing. You look at the synergy between the Mordekaiser and the Rumble, and it's pretty good because you can use the Rylai slow if you get up close to a target, and keep them in your passive aura if you're the Mordekaiser, because if you get so many autos and Qs down, you get a AoE circle around you that provides damage, and if you get Rylai's, that slows targets down enough for them to be stuck in that with you chasing them down. But the other interesting aspect is the slowdown, because once you come out of Death Realm, if you have a target slowed in your aura, the equalizer being dropped down on top of them is going to be huge, as this is a play coming out from SK, Nature's Wrath comes through, but this Mordekaiser is just so goddamn it's not even Mordekaiser, it's Maokai, so squishy, no tank items, bear in mind, it's just damage, and he gets immediately bursted out, and the kills go over to BDS, because they pick off Niski alongside it as well. Now, the continuation of the play, 4 members of BDS in the area, gonna chip away at this mid lane tier 1. This should fall as irrelevant, force the flash out. And yeah, to be honest, BDS maintaining tempo, maintaining pressure. SK trying to force the play onto the pick. They go in, but the Maokai It's so goddamn squishy. Just gets burnt to a crisp with the Flame Spitter. Varus just kills off Corki with the mass amount of burst. And it's SK thinking they've got numbers advantage and a pick. But BDS just baiting them in to falter and die. That results in a couple of big kills over to BDS. The mid lane tier 1 on top of it. And possibly in a minute's time, Herald. Which, to be honest... Wait. No, Herald's already been picked up by BDS. Actually surprised they didn't drop it. Anyway. We're going to have to keep our eyes on Shao. This Rumble is up on top side. So could be looking to make a play on his own. The jungle on this side of the map is very favourable for SK. As darkness is all around for BDS. They're unable to step up. And I think that this is where we need to consider where will Shao drop the Herald. Because right now, SK just pinning BDS back into their own side of the map. Not allowing them to step forward. The vision control here, this 3-line ward, just mean that SK can keep track of where BDS are on the map. And not allow them to step up while Niski is pushing in this tier 1. Niski hoping to crash that in and get some gold back into his pockets is kind of the name of the game. He's only 200 gold behind his counterpart, but it's still a massive gold lead. Now, BDS could be caught out here as the Varus ult going to be used to lock down this Skarner, who's now forced to run away back into the brush, playing his life, looking to get a stun down, but the Rel is here. The Stinger won't come out. The Nature's Grasp does, and that's going to be the kill over to Nuke. Now with the top laner there. Good flash there. Kaiser would have been killed off by the rocket, but with Irrelevant down, he has got TP, but he's not going to be there in time. The Herald was dropped in mid, and it's going to crash in. TP's going to come through, and that's going to be Niski on the flank. There's no package, remember, now on Corki, so he doesn't have that go button to just get into the backside. Instead, he just gets in and deletes the 2 ADCs of BDS's squad. The Baron is secured by SK, and now the fight goes in favor of the SK Gaming squad. They pick off 3. And get the Baron to boot after, arguably, an unneeded burger flip Baron from BDS. So, let's explain how this happens. Niski gets on the flank, and that's the big thing. Alistar's getting too close. Darrell's trying to stop him, but it's a massive headbutt pull, knocking up into the air the 3 carries. Varus gets deleted and shut down by Corki, and then the Jinx alongside it gets deleted. Kaiser comes flying over with the Killer Instinct after Niski falls in the Death Realm, but hey, damage is done, Kaiser secures a kill, and the flashes of doom come out. Baron secured. Drake also secured here by SK. They're on to their second Drake now, as the Hex Soul is a prize if the game goes long enough. But this game look to be getting out of the hands of SK, but they've fallen pretty well to get to this stage now with a 300 gold lead, 400 gold lead, 1 and 2, a gold lead nonetheless, pretty nice. And yeah, the gold difference graph at the bottom kind of tells you the story. It's been BDS dominant, SK trying to overforce to make plays to get back in, but they should realistically just wait for BDS to make the mistakes and punish. I'm going to be honest, Adam on this Mordekaiser, he's trying to play it like he plays Olaf or Darius and run down champions. He doesn't have that same power. He's more so there to be a frontliner that more than anything, and it's not really playing to his style. And as such, SK are punishing. Because right there, in that fight around the Baron, Mordekaiser realistically should have pulled into the Death Realm, the Maokai, to not allow for a steal. And he should have been man-marking, but instead he's not, and thus the Baron gets stolen. and Sheo's unable to smite in time. And realistically speaking, it's a poor Baron take by BDS in the overall scheme of it. Now, what we are seeing right now are tower trades. Obviously, the sieging squad being BDS, going to come out favourable in the sieges as they open up the mid lane tier 2 for top lane tier 1. Pretty big trade overall. Towers are even though now, as SK have opened all the outer towers, and they're possibly looking for more. The bot lane tier 2 is up and available. Irrelevant is just stalking in this jungle. He's been pretty absent from lanes, all things considered. He hasn't really been sat in it. He's been just hovering in jungles, trying to force picks, as a pick could be coming through here as a rumble. Already chunked out. The equalizer drop down as the TPs are going to come through. Rel pulls all the targets into that equalizer, and that's the first kill of the fight going over to BDS. They already secured themselves a second as the Maokai falls, and this is just 1-for-1 picks. Irrelevant just shows up and gets deleted. BDS punish SK. And that looked like such an awkward fight, to be honest, because there was no like synergized engage. They were just showing up and dying. As mid lane, the killer instinct is going to come out, and Rahel insta-gibs ice. The 1v1 solo bolo, if you can call it one, comes through for the SK bot laner. And yeah, we watch this again. It's just a contest over blue buff. Alistar goes in, but this equalizer, it's interesting because Rel pulls them into it, but it's a very delayed pull. And as such, kind of surprising. Then it's just BDS having the numbers advantage after getting 2 picks on, let's be honest, 2 champions who really shouldn't have been where they were. And as such, SK get punished, sorry. Even though they do manage to get a pick in the end, it is also something I like. It's the AP attack speed build from this Kaiser. So looking to put out more consistent attack speed damage instead of the AP burst that I would much rather have seen. But as you see there, that W stacking up, doing a lot of damage already, just chips away at them shields. And to be honest, I'm intrigued to see if that's actually W maxed on Kaiser. So I'm kind of just waiting to see on the bottom left of our screens the Kaiser's build. It's Q max for Niski, and then E max first. Sorry, I should say E into Q max. Total damage dealt to champions this game. Maokai, if you think about it, the AP damage dealer for SK, not doing that much damage overall, but the rest of the team, the fact that Skarner's out damaging the Kaiser is also pretty surprising, all things considered. If you look at the Skarner build, full tank, just been able to get in, just been able to do work, as Soul Point being started up here. Jinx Rocket comes in a bit too early, but BDS don't care. They don't care about Soul Point. Just gonna try and corral SK back to the mid lane. Let's go for the coin flip Baron again. I hope they don't, as Alistar's trying to step forward, gets chunked out a little bit by this Varus. And BDS doing work. They're very, very strong right now. They've hit their power spikes on their mid laner. Opportunity in hand for this Varus. And that's a lot of burst. The Q lands onto the Kaiser. And this is a go signal. The Void Spike. The shots out from the Kaiser coming through. The Void Seekers doing a lot of work. And they're just chipping away at the health bars. The more they land, the more they come out. W's doing work. Also the static Shiv procs coming out from this W as well, bear in mind. So a lot of work coming in here for Rahel, whose build is starting to do work. It is a very high attack speed build, but it still chips away at targets with the W's. And that is a very potent thing to say, because it's very hard for BDS to step up into her if she's playing at this long range. Plus with the SK have, the poke damage that could be put down very high from very far away. You've also now got the collector online for this Corki. Going to be able to execute off some targets, as that is going to be a lot of work. As another one lands, it is upgraded W for Rahel, as he's just able to keep chucking them out. The scrap shield not really going to be able to do too much to negate the damage, as Varus actually able to do a lot more damage back to Niski's Corki. The Qs being thrown out, and they do work. Niski's back gets denied here by Labrov stepping forward. And now, SK forced away. The Baron could be a possibility. Looking for wards, looking for them TP wards. As SK have got one up here that we can see on our screens. That should be, realistically speaking, where we see SK make a potential fight from. They've also got this one here, so there is a couple of wards behind. One's going to be cleared out. So SK, oh, that damage. Varus chunked out. Another one lands, and this time Adam tanks it up. Another one going to be fired out. Gonna deny the backs even more from BDS. Another one fired, and it lands. Adam's unable to get back to base, and instead, the Baron is being burnt down. Rahel might have single-handedly cost BDS this Baron take. Alistar playing bodyguard, keeping him away. The equalizers drop down, but the Baron is secured by SK. Now, the continuation is not even there for BDS. They TP so goddamn late because Adam can't get back to base. What a well-played Baron take by Rahel. And that's something BDS should have been doing when they tried to take the Baron. Just poke and keep away SK. That's all you needed to do. But instead, you allowed them to get close and allowed the steal to happen. And now this game firmly in control of SK. And that damage, do you remember that damage graph from earlier on? Irrelevant was in second place. This Kaiser has just soared to the lead. It's such an insane thing to say because it's just W damage diff, baby. The poke damage from this SK squad coming online. But realistically speaking, if you're BDS, you know who you need to pick off. You know who you need to kill. And it is that Kaiser. Now with 50 seconds until this Drake, just playing the range, these Void Seekers doing so much work, the W's being thrown out. And it just means that SK get to siege. They've already killed off the bot lane tier 2. And top lane tier 2 not going to be started because the wave's nowhere near. I think that the Alistar's gone back to try and get it. Never mind, he's not even going to start it up. I'm just looking at TPs. Honestly, irrelevant. Should be pathing to the top side of the map. Because he can go start to push in for the tier 2 top. It's already quite low. But, to be honest, SK more concerned about this Drake. Soul. Hex Soul. More than anything. That poke and harass from this Kaiser. Even more powerful as the Rel engage comes through. The equalizers on top of it. But Rel is immediately dead to Rahel. The continuation of the play is Adams kills off the jungler. But it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade as Niski's starting to get aggressive. The Scanner ult goes wide. And now BDS being chased away from the pit. SK don't have a jungler here. Sheo has the possibilities of a steal. But SK are going to start it up. I'm concerned they weren't. They could have honestly have given it up and not tried. But keep your eyes on this rumble. Into the backside goes the Killer Instinct. And Rahel's killed off this Jinx. It's 2 kills as both the ADCs of BDS get cooked. And it's a double kill. Over to the Kaiser as down goes Sheo. That should be Soul as Irrelevant's just soloing the dragon. BDS. They've thrown this game. And hello. Special delivery as Labrov's gonna be picked off. He delivers his body, his soul, and allows Rahel to be dominant. It's a massive play for SK that, realistically speaking, is a fumble of the bag from BDS. Now, initially, the play looks good. If it weren't for the fact that all that Labrov gets trapped into his Magnet Storm is the front line of SK. Now it's just awkward because you're in a 3v4 if you're BDS. And then this It's just excellent. Killer Instinct into the backside. The isolated carry of ice just gets deleted. And here, because even though Rahel has no mana, he's still able to outdamage this Rumble. The consistent attack speed build that you go on this Kaiser just means that the damage output is so goddamn high. And now with Hexol paired alongside that Static Shiv, a lot of lightning bolts are going to be striking BDS. And I'm really intrigued to see how explosive the damage is from this W. Nature's Grasp is thrown out. Going to be tanked up here by a Dom. And wow, already getting to below half his HP bar. Mid lane tier 2 secured by SK. They're on the victory march here. Just deleting waves. And to be honest, kind of have to keep your eyes on these Prey Seekers, the Void Seekers, whatever you want to call them. One of them's a Rek'Sai ability name. I don't remember which. I think it's the Void Seeker is the Kaiser one. Anyway, simply put, this game is, and as Rahel's just that dominant. The Killer Instinct into the backside, just, he's feeling himself, certainly. The aggressiveness, the style that you need to get picks is there. And BDS can't really respond. The Rel's not able to get onto the backside because they're playing at such a massive range. TP's out here. Nuke just gonna get away because he realizes he's overstayed his welcome. And now there's no TP on that Varus, not able to press on the side lanes as he would like to because he doesn't have that safety tool. Baron's up in 40 seconds, so he's gonna have to regroup with his team. And so maybe SK look to punish sides. They've got TP up on Irrelevant. Same with Adom, to be fair. So side lane pressure could be an option. But 5 members of BDS grouping up as Adom's going to be isolated here. Chipped away at, pulled in. And Descana's going to force him into a fight. Now, Varus gets deleted by Rahel on the backside Shale, forcing damage down as Rel actually catches out the Kaiser, but damage isn't there, and it's a double kill over to the ADC of SK. BDS just deleted and aced. We didn't even see the other 2 kills as Nuke J showcased the strength of this Kaiser and this Corki in the late game. After fumbling the bag early, they just delete the opposition who fumbled this game out of their hands. The game goes over to SK, who remain undefeated in the LEC. Now, while I've given a lot of credit over to Rahel's aggressive style this game, I think the biggest issue was this one Baron fight. That is kind of where the bag got fumbled, to be honest. And I think that as a whole, kind of need to look at that one Baron fight as, realistically speaking, it's here. Realistically speaking, you start it up, you get the flash out from the Kaiser, and it's like, okay, cool, let's burn this down. But you start off, you've got Nuke's not in range to do damage, so it's very slow initially. And then the flank comes through here. The Alistar gets way too close. Isma's not even being marked. Adom's just not able to get in, and he turns around because Niski's killing his back lane. Then the Maokai just walks up, smite take. It's realistically just pretty bad. And I think that the way BDS actually played this is pretty horrible, because if we go back to where it all happened, like further back than this, the initial Baron start, sure, you fire out the rocket here and get the flash out from the Kaiser, but firstly, you haven't put any control ward into the... Firstly, you're doing this in pure vision. Like, That's the initial issue. That ward sees everything going on. And that tells you, okay, well, we can't stay here. You have no control wards. Is an issue. No sweepers available. So, starting up the Baron, very 50-50 like. Because you know that Isma's alive. And he can quite easily get in. Then you realise, well, Nuke's not in a position to take it. You're only just getting your carries hitting it. Keep your eyes on that Dom. He steps up. I personally would have much rather, if we go back even further to here, I'd much rather have seen this guy go over here and path here. Sure, you're probably going to be headbutted by the Alistar into the pit, but you're then wasting his headbutt. So he can't get in to disrupt your backline. You then also can try and mark Isma, who's up here. And, I mean, you don't technically... Well, you kind of know he's up there, because considering the pick you just got was in the top lane. You kind of wouldn't expect him up that top side map, so it'd be beneficial if he went there. Same with Labrov, to be honest. Now you're in a situation where, well, you're just allowing SK to get close. Quite clearly, they know a Baron's being taken if the Alistar is here. And your ward spots him. So you know that they are aware this is happening. Fact is, you're just able to continue to walk up. The TP flank comes through from Niski, which is huge. And this is just what happens when you poorly set up for a Baron. You get punished. The Rel's marking the Alistar, which is good. But the Q comes through a bit too early. Rel's then trying to block Labrov. Labrov's trying to keep Maokai away, but can't do anything because, well, simply put, all the CC chain in the world from this Rel is not strong enough to stop Maokai getting in. And thus he just walks in. This is where you would rather have a Dom's Mordekaiser marking this Maokai, because you can kind of stop it. The Death Realm's there to stop it. And I mean, yes, your entire backline gets deleted by the Corki, but that's more for them for grouping up and getting hit by Labrov. Sorry, by Luan, who just gets a massive 3-man knockup. And do you remember what I was saying about how you stop that 3-man knockup? You send Adam on a pathway of doom to stop him coming over this wall here. You put the Mordekaiser here, and how does the Alistar get in and get onto the backside? He doesn't. Therefore, you understand the issues of this Baron take by BDS, as it's, realistically speaking, poor execution. And honestly, a pointless burger flip Baron. That's the way I see it. It was a pointless coin flip that did not work in their favour. Anyway, I know the stream's been a little bit shitty today. I know that there's been grey screens. I can't really help it. The connection's been so whack. But at least I managed to get the stream out for you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Hopefully the internet's fixed next week, he says. I'll see you guys then, because right now I've got some Hoggybot to watch, and maybe some LEC. Peace out.